This is coffee number 5. I'm your host, Lara Schmoisman. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to coffee number 5. My coffee is getting a little cold because our pre-podcast was a little longer today. And that's why I love to do this podcast. I get to talk to the most amazing people out there that I don't know if our path will cross otherwise. So today I'm honored to have Vera Koch with us. Koch, Knosh, I always kill every last name. It's just tradition in this podcast. Welcome, Vera. How are you?
Doing very well. Excited to be here today.
Well, I'm so excited because we're going to be talking about one of my favorite things that is called marketing. And I really was following your trajectory and the companies that you've been in, and you were working always kind of with startups. So mean that you have to be working with lean budgets most of the time. What does it mean? And what's your passion that you start working with companies that, okay, are they going to make it or not? That because it's starting up a company and just getting on board with a company with limited funding is always a risk.
Certainly, yeah. So a little part of my journey there, I started my career with L'Oreal, so very large corporation, then moved to Henkel Beauty Care, which is a very think of it as a German version of a Procter & Gamble, it's a very large organization. And so while I was working in the large teams, I was realizing the more I had the opportunity as Henkel was acquiring different startups that were all successfully funded and had grown to brands and companies of significant scale. Like in my role here in the US as director of regional marketing, I had the opportunity to get to know successful founders, successful marketing teams, and learn from their journeys. And that really sparked my excitement and interest for smaller organizations and scaling smaller brands to a successful level. And so it really was the entrepreneurial element that excites me, the opportunity to start something new, be super fast, agile, test, trial, but fail fast and move on to scale, versus being in a large organization, let's say, with what often comes with that is more corporate layers, and less of a personal impact. Whereas in a startup environment, of course, everyone has to be super hands-on. And so always keeping in mind the bigger goal, the company strategy, but at the same time, taking all the steps it takes to accomplish it. So that's always fascinated me.
That's very interesting, because when you have the background of big corporations, it's very different when you start working with a startup. That in a big corporation, every person has a role. When you start in a startup, you need to do a little bit of everything. How was for you to do the switch from having your specific tasks to have to do a little bit of everything on a day-to-day basis?
I personally really enjoy it. Also, as marketers, especially in current times, the rate of change is so fast that I would feel, for me personally, being stuck in one area specifically would put me at risk of missing other skills that I also need to learn and adapt to. So the startup environment really challenges me to be at least to master many different areas, from digital, social, content creation, CRM, performance marketing, so many different aspects, where if I was in a larger organization and I could only be practicing one of those areas, I'd be concerned that I would just kind of miss the mark and miss the trends in other fields.
But so I totally get it. And that's why I created my agency, to be able to offer that to multiple clients and startups or smaller companies, because there is something to be said about integrated marketing. And it's not performance marketing anymore, because for a few years, I believe that everything was performance. And there are other people who believe in brand and in branding. I think my belief is that we need to integrate, because really you can add layers of complexity by combining social with media buy and with SEO and everything interconnected.
Yes, I could not agree with you more. We can call it integrated marketing, performance-based branding. Yeah. Performance and brand have to go hand in hand in today's world, especially in the direct-to-consumer world. And what I love about it and what fascinates me is that, when I think of my first days in my career, where we spent all this time in focus groups, like getting 8 consumers together to give personal opinions, things like that. Whereas today, with clicks and impressions, we get feedback, brutally honest feedback from customers.
Yeah.
We have it at our fingertips, and so it is incredibly helpful. And at Happy Head, for example, we are really building our brand based on this customer feedback, really trying to meet our customers where they are at the moment of their decision making, at the moment of their purchase, and at the places where they're looking to educate themselves on. In our case, Happy Head serves the strongest available hair loss medicine in the market. So,
but you have another layer of complexity here that is working with an FDA approved product. Were you before it was approved? Were you in that process too?
Yeah, good point that you're mentioning that. So what we do is a dermatologist-prescribed custom hair loss medicine with FDA-approved ingredients. So the way it works is that our customers go through a questionnaire on our homepage, then upload a picture, and then talk to one of our licensed dermatologists to get their custom prescription shipped to their home. And what's exciting about that is that dermatologists are really the best to treat hair loss because they go through extra 4 years of education and training to make the appropriate prescription for you. This allows us to prescribe FDA-approved ingredients at a high concentration, a lot higher than most of what's available in OTC. And it leads to very successful results. So I always, speaking of marketing, I have to mention to people, like, the before and afters on our homepage are real. They're not Photoshopped.
Yeah.
Because it's really rewarding to see ultimately the thank you notes from customers who have gotten their hair back and are so thankful and hence also loyal to our brand. So as a marketing channel, word of mouth is getting more and more important to us because we have so many happy customers. But then going back through the journey, so that is, we have FDA approved ingredients. And again, it comes with a consultation from the dermatologist who is licensed in your state to give you what's right for you and to treat your hair loss issues.
And that also, as a setup, having a dermatologist license in your state, it's a hell of a work from the back end.
Yes. Yes. I will give all the credit to our amazing founders and our phenomenal head of operations and head of product who are managing this piece of our business, because yes, it requires a lot of perfection, precision, and we take that very seriously since it is teledermatology.
It's something that it's very attractive to me to work with startups or smaller business, and is that you always don't have the availability of that amazing budget that you will have in a big corporation. So you really need to work lean. And I believe in working lean with strategy, but you have to plan and you need how to use your budget money the most efficient way. How do you plan your strategy given the budget that you have?
Well, there's goals, there's a strategy that leads us there, which is overall we are. And when we first started out, we said we want to be the leader. Now we are the leader in dermatologist-prescribed custom hair loss medication. And in order to build that out and grow to that goal, we are very metrics-based. Data obsessed is how you could call it as well. So we have a foundation of a customer journey that functions for us, and we're constantly working to optimize it. So then as we're thinking about assigning budgets, we're really carefully measuring the return on investment on all the moves we make. And it's probably pretty common. I've definitely had that in other organizations too, where I recall in my Schwarzkopf Professional days, we had set aside a budget of 10% for tests, ideas, innovation, trying something different. And so same for us, we know what works well and we're continuing to optimize. And then we're dedicating small test pockets for additional marketing channels, ideas, ventures to make sure that we continuously expand. But we're careful not to spread ourselves too thin, to make sure that we can really and always check what's scalable. One thing is testing something that's fun and cute, but if it's not scalable, then what do we test it for, right? So
what happened, like, for example, you said that you're doing innovation and you're trying things. How much time you give it to see if it works? And if it doesn't, you will say, I'm not doing this anymore.
Yeah. So when we talk about an innovation for product innovation, I think we have not even reached a point where we have fully explored and really leveraged every single innovation that we have in our portfolio to the fullest potential. But when it comes to other innovation, when I would say for ads that we run on Meta, they get a solid week and then it's moving on. Yeah. So it's really, or same here, our like always be testing email campaigns, discounts, and like ads or ideas might get a second chance to test once more to see if there wasn't another factor. But if something that even though we all creatively maybe enjoyed it, if it did not perform, then we understand that this is not what led the customer to convert and trust our product. So
I see, like, for example, going to Happy Head website, I see that you guys have a very aggressive opt-in of a 60% off.
Yeah.
And this is a risky move because in this new first treatment that I think it lasts 30 days, right? What they will receive, would they start being results in 30 days after using treatment, or they will have to continue?
Yes to both. So the 60% off, I agree, is a bold offer. Yeah. What leads us to be so generous with the offer is that when people subscribe, we see a very high loyalty because there's a very high customer satisfaction. That being said, it does take 3 to 6 months on average for the product to show results. Some people are seeing results a little bit earlier. Of course, that goes into our favor, but it also makes a difference once people have agreed to test our product, that they then become part of our customer journey overall in terms of the product they receive, the information they receive.
But how do you bridge that gap? Because if you say that they're gonna get a discount for the first 30 days and they don't see the results, how do you keep that retention on this second and third months until they start seeing results?
A very big aspect of that is educating our customers around hair loss and the necessity for them to stay with the product a little bit longer to see the results. So when we think of brand archetypes and communication, we are noticing when we are interacting with our customers and also in terms of engagement rates and responses that kind of a sage archetype, kind of a fact, like informative, trustworthy, fact-based communication is very helpful because a lot of customers come to us already with quite some knowledge about hair loss. A lot of customers fail up to Happy Head because they've tried other options that looked bright, shiny, easy to purchase, but have not worked at all. And so they've started to research and learn more about what ingredients are effective and what treatment methods are good options. And so often they come already to us after they've seen what we're offering, realizing, oh, I can get dutasteride, finasteride, for example, at a high concentration prescribed by a dermatologist. Those are all checkboxes that complete and build trust for the customers and then lead to loyalty. And we do need them to trust us that our product is going to show results in 3 to 6 months. So it goes back to communication. Yeah.
But what are the tools that you find more? What are the tools? Sorry, I forgot. We'll edit this. Don't worry about it.
No worries.
So sorry about that. What are the tools that you feel more efficient at the time of communicating these messages? Because there are so many tools out there and so many programs, and now with AI and sell on TV and sell live online. What are the tools that you found that they were more effective communicating your message and getting return of investment?
Yeah. Are you speaking to the very first touch point or more to retention, or would you like to speak to both?
In all of them. I'm fascinated. So all of them.
Absolutely. Yeah. So for us, Meta and Google are very, not a surprise for a direct to consumer company, that those are very important platforms for us. When it comes to ads, always test, we launch 40 to 60 ads a week to ensure messaging is relevant and to ensure that we constantly optimize. And is part of that journey.
Yeah, that's something that I always say it's key. It's optimizing and optimizing and optimizing, because that makes us understand also our customer. When we understand what keywords, by what keywords people find us, we are learning a little more about our customer.
Yes, exactly. Absolutely correct. So those work really well for us. And then also, not a surprise, on the retention element, it is really email or CRM. We have an amazing director of CRM who is leading this piece of the puzzle for us. And so that's a big element, as well as also inbox communication. So as people receive their shipment, they receive communication that educates them around the product as well and gives words of affirmation and encouragement.
Do you, besides that package that they receive with the product, are you guys doing any kind of marketing that is not digital?
Not really. No, not yet. That could always change, but I think it leads back to a lean startup and being very mindful in how we're spending our budgets right now. I think that outdoor advertising, for example, could work phenomenal for us, but ROI is hard to measure. Actually, there is one thing. There's a truck driving around LA that has design on it. It's super fun. People text us all the time that they've seen the truck and are excited about it, but the truck has a QR code and a dedicated landing page. And I will just say, we're not seeing the same conversions as we're seeing elsewhere. So it's kind of hard sometimes people will say like, oh, I hope that this campaign is going to work and I hope we're going to notice something, but I just don't love building business on hope.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is a sensitive subject, like a lot of things in wellness. And it also is challenged to find someone, like many beauty brands can do gifting. That is an easy one, but not a lot of people can give you or want to give you content about these subjects.
Yes, that is correct. And especially with FDA approved ingredients, we can absolutely not gift the product. It has to be prescribed. So we have a few supporting products like shampoo, conditioner, supplements, and a derma roller that we can use for gifting just to tease the brand. But the true effect and the true center, it does take, especially for like ambassadors, influencers, which we have a few, for them to really be, struggling with hair loss. Receiving that prescription.
How easy was the negotiation to find those influencers or ambassadors that they are interested in, or they're okay of talking about their journey?
A lot of word of mouth and just networking, or our own customers reaching out to us, and then picking up the conversation there. Definitely different from other ambassador types or campaigns that you can launch, where a lipstick, for example, right? Instant gratification, really easy to tell a story in a video. So yeah, but that would summarize it probably. And then we have a few other campaigns running where we've had people like demo our shampoos, but it's just not the same because our core of the business is somewhere else. So less is more, I would say, though. If you have a few good ones who tell the story very well, it might just be a lot more impactful than spreading yourself super wide. And then you have, I'd rather take 10 really strong pieces of content than 100 mediocre ones.
In your case, also, you have two very powerful doctors who are the face of the business. So by finding an influencer or a personality behind the brand, you will be competing with the authority of the doctors for the brand.
Yes, that could definitely be a risk that we could have. So actually, in our situation, we have the doctors, of course, as our strongest ambassadors and influencers. They also are very well known in the space. Dr. Sean was just nominated as one of the top 10 hair transplant surgeons worldwide. So they have a really good following, and they are really strong, trustworthy content creators themselves on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. But then the other ambassadors for a brand are either patients who have seen results, the before and afters, or we have also worked with a few dermatologists as well as ambassadors to speak to hair loss in general. But I would definitely say there are different tiers in terms of the importance of our founders as spokespeople for our business overall, then dermatologists sharing the information about our brand and our benefits from a doctor's perspective, and then customers showing their results as a very impactful way, but not taking the stance of educating on hair loss itself, but more, wow, I'm so impressed. Like, see my before and after, and then telling about the emotions and their own experience with the product.
My mind is blowing here because I have so many thoughts in this space, because it's wellness, it's beauty, it's medical. You have so many different ingredients here. And I was thinking, like, for example, what is going to be your email segmentation? Because you have different issues to assess in your email segmentations. Do you have tons of groups, or you just send informative content to everyone?
So we don't segment our email database by because we have to be very thoughtful with patient data because of HIPAA compliance. So there's not a place where we would see what, like, for us as the marketers, we don't see, or we would not be able to leverage the reason why someone's losing their hair. We do not have that information. So our email segmentation is really male, female, can be location-based, can be based on past orders based, but overall, when we're looking at our content, we, in our blog and in our emails, newsletters, we educate on general topics around hair loss. We use a lot of the questions that people have posed to us, either to customer service or via social media, like, can I wear a hat? How about hair loss in the summer? What can I put on my scalp in terms of sunscreen? So there are a lot of other general topics surrounding hair loss that engage our audience. So with the engagement, we're assuming it's really interesting for our audience, but this is how we're building the content in that way. So it's a lot more universal.
Absolutely. If you will have all the budget, unlimited budget, what would you do for a brand like Happy Heads?
I would love to expand to more channels. That is something where I think there's, I would see a lot of opportunity expanding and testing more channels if I had more budget.
For example,
that's probably the next thing I would do. Say again?
For example, what channels?
We are to a certain extent, we're present on YouTube, TikTok, Pinterest, but not to a scale that other brands are present. So that's something I would love to do more. And then I think overall content creation is a lot of work when it's done in-house with a small, scrappy team. So it would be phenomenal to have, the luxury of a big producing agency and just make a wish list and then see the results and approve them. Right now, we're super hands-on doing that ourselves, and I really enjoy it. It's something that I really love about my work. But those will be probably the first things. And then, of course, things like, streaming, outdoor advertising, all of these would be phenomenal additional things to do. But, just being as we're scaling thoughtfully, it also only makes sense to enter those challenges properly when there's a certain budget available.
Yeah, and I think that's a beauty when you work with a strategy that is what I call sustainable strategies, that you create a strategy that you can sustain in certain amount of time. I've seen so many companies saying I have this budget and to burn everything in ads. And then they don't realize that the product will take time for brand awareness, that it's not going to be an overnight success.
Yes, I agree with you.
So from the beginning of your journey, when do you start? How much time do you give to a brand for brand awareness when you start
Oh,
something new?
I'm sorry.
When you start something new?
That's a good question.
And I know that there is no easy answer because each product is different and depends in many factors. I'm a believer that if you believe in the brand, you need to keep going, even if it's a little bit at a time, and you're gonna grow a little bit at a time.
Yes, I agree with you. Really depends. I agree that it depends really on the product, the segment, the marketplace. I mean, if it was something very trendy, I wouldn't give it a long time to, because it also depends on how competitive the space is that you're in and how fast that space moves on. So I would definitely apply different rules for a trending, makeup item or either like a fashion item. They can get so seasonal versus something like hair loss, where teledermatology, we know overall telemedicine is just showing steady growth. And so in our case, as we're looking at long-term and sustainable growth, I would definitely give our brand more time for awareness as we're building steady. But I would also say that large budget and brand awareness go hand in hand. So if you're the shiny star that's going to be gone in a year, then you need a lot of money to make that work.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think brand awareness, sometimes you have the luck factor that something happened, but you cannot count on that.
No. Yeah. The magic. Oh yeah. Let's just go viral.
Yes.
I think every marketer, I think there's so many marketing news around. Oh yeah, just go viral, right?
Exactly.
So
And for me,
exactly.
because when someone tells me, let's go viral, it's okay. Let's start lighting candles, maybe, just in case. Do some
exactly.
dancing rituals, because there is no magic recipe for that.
Yeah. And I think a lot of brands that have gone viral on, a $3 million influencer budget. So
yeah. And also there's something to be said about going viral. Like sometimes it happens and the companies are not prepared to deliver.
Yeah.
When you go viral.
Yeah.
Like, for example, in your case, that everything is prescribed and need to be going through a doctor, you cannot go retail with something like this unless you go to, not even you cannot go in a pharmacy. You need to go to doctor offices.
No, yeah, for our product, it's really designed to be online. So people do all their interactions with the dermatologist online. So there are no plans for Happy Hat to be for the prescription strength to be sold in a pharmacy. It kind of would make sense. It kind of would kill our unique selling proposition, because getting it from the comfort of your home, talking about a topic that you may not be comfortable about from the comfort of your home, getting it shipped to your door without having to even show that you're buying this type of medication, that has a lot of benefits to it. I could see us at some point maybe have like supporting items retailed somewhere, but this goes back to what do you do when you have a limited budget, limited resources. It's about staying focused and leveraging your strength. When you're trying to play everywhere, when you're trying to be everyone and everything to everyone else, then it just stretches you really thin.
Thank you so much, Vera, for being here. I really, really appreciate our talk and all your insights. And I found it fascinating to learn from each company and from inside the company, because sometimes you only see the success stories, or we see just one part of the story.
Thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed our conversation.
And to you guys, I will see you next week with more coffee number 5.
Find everything you need at laraschmoisman.com or in the episode notes right below. Don't forget to subscribe.
It was so good to have you here today. See you next time. Catch you on the flip side. Ciao, ciao.